made you say, yeah, I'm going to die? I was taking my dog Max for a walk and decided to cut across the frozen lake instead of going around. It was January, freezing cold, and I'd seen people ice fishing there all week. I figured it was solid. Max was running ahead of me, having the time of his life, and I was about halfway across when I heard it, that crackling sound. I stopped dead, and the ice underneath me just gave way. I dropped straight into the freezing water, and I've never felt cold like that in my life. It literally knocked the air out of my lungs. I tried to pull myself up, but my arms had no strength. The ice kept breaking every time I grabbed it. My mind was racing. I thought about my mom, how she'd told me that morning to be careful. I thought about how I'd brushed her off, laughing, saying I'd be fine. Now I was going to die because I was too stubborn to walk an extra 10 minutes around the lake. The cold was doing something to my body I can't even describe. It felt like 1,000 needles stabbing me all at once, and then nothing. Just numbness creeping up from my legs. I couldn't feel my feet anymore. My fingers were barely responding. I kept trying to hoist myself up, but each time I'd get my chest onto the ice, it would crack and I'd fall back in. The water was filling my coat, pulling me down like weights. I was getting tired, so tired. My movements were getting slower, weaker. I was losing feeling in my legs, and my whole body was shutting down. Max was freaking out on the solid ice, barking like crazy, and I remember thinking, this is it. I'm going to drown and my dog is going to watch. Part of me wanted to just let go, to stop fighting. The exhaustion was overwhelming and the cold had stopped hurting. That's when I knew I was in real trouble. When the pain stops, you're shutting down. I looked at Max and he was pacing back and forth, his eyes locked on mine. I'd raised him from a puppy, rescued him from a shelter when he was 8 weeks old. He trusted me completely, and now he was going to watch me die because I made a stupid decision. I'm sorry, buddy, I whispered, my teeth chattering so hard I could barely form words. I'm so sorry. I thought about all the times he'd been there for me. When I lost my job last year and spent days on the couch, he never left my side. When my girlfriend broke up with me, he'd rest his head on my lap while I cried. When I had panic attacks at 3 in the morning, he'd wake up and stay with me until I calmed down. He depended on me for everything: food, shelter, love, and I was about to abandon him. The guilt hit me harder than the cold. What would happen to him? Would he wait by the hole in the ice? Would he try to jump in after me? My chest tightened at the thought. He didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve to lose the only person who'd ever really loved him. I could feel myself slipping. My grip on the ice was loosening. My body wasn't listening to me anymore. The lake was winning, and I knew it. I tried one more time to pull myself up, putting everything I had left into it, but my arms just wouldn't cooperate. But Max wouldn't stop barking. He just kept going and going. This desperate sound I'd never heard from him before. It was raw, primal, like he was screaming for help in the only way he knew how. My vision was getting blurry. I was going under. I remember taking what I thought was my last breath, water filling my mouth, and just accepting it. This is how it ends, alone in a frozen lake because I was too lazy to walk the long way. Then I heard someone yelling. Some guy was running across the ice with a rope. He threw it to me and dragged me out, and I just remember collapsing on the ice, gasping, my entire body shaking. I couldn't stop shaking. It wasn't just from the cold. It was the realization of how close I'd come, how easily I could have just slipped under and never come back up. The guy was talking to me, asking if I was okay, but I couldn't focus on his words. I just kept staring at Max. Turns out he was walking his own dog on the trail and heard Max barking. Your dog saved your life, he told me as paramedics wrapped me in blankets. I almost kept walking. The paramedic told me later that another 5 minutes and I probably wouldn't have made it. My body temperature had dropped dangerously low. I spent 3 days in the hospital recovering from hypothermia. If it wasn't for my dog, I'd be dead. I owe that stranger everything, but I owe Max more. He's getting steak for dinner for the rest of his life.